Lewis and I are going to talk about astral travel, sleep paralysis. All right, I just accepted your request, I think. Oh, no, I didn't. Let's see. Hello.
How's it going? How are you?
I am well. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Nice chat.
So excited that you are experiencing similar dream astral experiences that I am, and you're willing to share and just talk about it live here on Instagram on very short notice. So I'm so grateful for that.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
Do you want to sync up first?
Yes.
Like
Okay.
Human Garage
Yes.
style? Let's do it.
Society. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So right foot over, right hand under the armpit. Yes. Body to the right, head to the left. And three, one, two. One, two, three through the nose. One, two, and three.
Wow. So for those of you who don't know, that is fascia maneuvers, just a little quick sync up resets to bring us into the moment and into the body. Oh my gosh, that always feels so good. I need to do that regularly
I
before
know.
live.
That works like the Palo Santo.
Yes, yes, absolutely. All right, so yeah, you mentioned something about astral. You've been practicing astral travel for how long now? Did you say? Like,
So this is the thing. I practiced it for months, 10 years ago.
oh, right. Yeah, I remember something like, yeah.
Yeah, so I had a spiritual guide, that I met. He was from Chile, living in Venezuela, where I used to live. And we met, and he introduced me to Buddhism, to mantras and all of this, right? And doing, like what is your chart? What is
My
your sun,
my top
your moon?
my big three.
Yes.
Yeah, so I am a Scorpio rising, Aquarius sun, and Capricorn moon.
Okay. Do you know the degrees by any
Yeah,
chance?
so my Scorpio rising is 27 degrees,
27, Scorpio rising.
and
Okay.
then my Aquarius sun is 0 degrees. And
So you are 0 degree like me in your sun.
yeah, what's your sun?
I'm Cancer, 0 degree
Wow,
Cancer.
okay. That's it.
And
Yeah.
and your moon?
My moon is Capricorn 20. Let me check. It's either 19 or 20, but I think it's 20. I should know this, right? I want to say it's
Yeah,
20. I'm overthinking it. So
it's okay.
let's see. Urania, where are you? All right. Yes, it is 20 degrees.
20. Okay. Which will be two, no? Which is Cancer.
Hmm.
That's why you are like emotional, maybe.
Yeah, but I'm really good at, no, I'm better. Okay, so I will say Human Garage has helped me to connect with my emotions, right? To like feel them because I'm with the Capricorn, I'm able to separate. Like I'm the queen of like disassociating. I'm like, okay, like I can feel emotion and I'm like, all right, well, I'll wait later and cry in the shower like tonight. You know what I mean? Like it's really, but now I'm learning to just be in the moment and experience, that emotion coming through. And I feel that it's really helped me with dreams as well. Like just connecting because it's like in order you have to be able to feel the emotions if you're going deep within that unconscious aspect of self.
Yeah. 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 I'm the same. I'm like my moon is Gemini
Mm,
28, I
okay.
think. Gemini. So I rationalize my emotions instead of feeling them, for sure.
Yeah.
And and yeah, like thank God, Human Garage. I am also stepping into my emotions more and more.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
okay,
So
oh, go
yeah.
ahead.
So yeah. Can you tell me your experience with dream paralysis, and then I tell you mine.
Nice. I was going to say that. Okay. So, yes. So, for those of you who may not be familiar, sleep paralysis essentially is when, say, you're laying in bed or you were asleep, you wake up, and essentially I can see things in my room, right? So it's like I literally wake up and I'm looking at everything in my room, but you're not really awake. You cannot move, you cannot speak, right? Even if you open your mouth, like nothing comes out, and I've double checked with past partners and like, hey, did you hear me yelling and being like, hey, like help me? And your whole body is essentially paralyzed. You're in the in between, and it's very, very, like you said, terrifying. And my experience with that, I would say it was weird because how old was I want to say I was like 14 or 15, and I was living in my mother's like in the basement of the house, but the room that I was in had no windows. So, and in that way, I chose that room because I was like, I don't want to be upstairs with everyone. I want my own space. And I don't care that there are no windows in the room, but I don't know what it was. And even now, when I go back home, I don't like going in that room. And I'm definitely a lot more sensitive. So I don't know, but that room is when I began to have the sleep paralysis. And what I realized recently is that it's usually when I nap. And I don't know if that was the case then, but I know my pattern is like when I nap, I have it. And it's like when I am like not, I'm overly rested, if that makes sense. Like if I nap or if I like sleep too long, I notice that I easily slip into that paralysis state.
Mm-hmm.
That,
Okay, and what do you experience
oh,
while you were having it?
experience. Yeah. So like I said, I wake up, my eyes, I'm always looking around the room and I won't see anything, but I hear things, right? And I know that's something that a lot of people experience. I hear things, I feel something really close. And yeah, there's always like there was one experience where like I felt this spirit laughing, right? It was laughing at the fact that I couldn't move or anything. And it was really weird because I've had experiences where in the in between, like I wake up, not always paralysis, but sometimes it's just a dream within a dream, but I wake up and I'm like yelling mantras at some sort of entity. So it's like I'm having a spiritual battle. So in this particular case, I had sleep paralysis and it was something there and it was laughing at me. So I'm just going to share this part because it's really funny as we're talking about Buddhism and all of that. Well, come to find out, I was at my ex-boyfriend's house and he had gotten a wooden Buddha that was in like this little case,
Yeah.
this wood, and he got it from like a secondhand shop. And I don't know how I determined how I found it. I mean, I'm really sensitive to stuff, but I found that I was like, this is it. Can you hear me? Oh, yeah. So, yeah. And so we had to get the entity out of the house. And so I've noticed that too in other places. If there's like a spirit that exists around, I am more likely to experience sleep paralysis. So I have no idea what's going on with that. And I'm sure like, there's not a lot if you Google it, there's like really no help. There's not really a lot there.
Yeah.
So it's up to experience and community.
Yeah. I think, sleep paralysis got me into all of this, I guess, because it's something that you cannot get over with.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, you know, yeah, like it happened the same to me. I woke up and you know, I was super aware that I was in my room sleeping, but I couldn't move. And the weird thing that I experienced was actually I felt something, when your cat comes in on the bed and you feel the
Oh,
weight.
yeah.
I fucking feel the weight. It comes on me. I, I feel it on me, and,
Whoa.
and I feel something kind of looking at me close to me, on
But
me.
can you see it? You just feel it, you can't see it?
No, I couldn't see anything because my room was pure pitch black, right?
Oh,
So, but I,
yeah.
but one thing that I realized that I could see with my eye closed, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. It's like we are seeing through I don't know, some through our eyes or something. But I felt that, right? That was one thing. I start praying, didn't work until I actually kind of make pressure on my body and
Yeah.
start moving,
Yeah.
right?
Like I know I've had so many experiences where I'm just like they're trying so hard to move. It's exhausting,
Yeah,
right? And it just
yeah. So that's one thing. The other thing that I experience is obviously that entity or whatever it is, kind of breathing on my ear, and then it started screaming like like a women's scream, like so hard, like in a horror movie, right? And
wow.
I had a huge fan, at night, and then the scream actually fade away and became the fan, and I woke up and I could move. That was fucking terrifying. That was like next level, like a scream.
Wow.
But the thing is, like, as weird as it sounds and everything, you are terrified. But when you come back and you can move, it's like, wow, that was wild, and good that I experienced it.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
weird. It's weird.
because it's like I know or I just feel like when you wake up it's so short, like that when you're in it it feels like it's been, I mean, forever. But I know like something happens where I can logically understand, or I just have this knowing that, oh, it was only maybe like 30 seconds or a minute or whatever, it wasn't that long. But when you're in that moment, it's, yeah, it feels like a lifetime, it feels forever.
Yeah,
How old were you at that particular experience?
I would say between 15 and 18.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I started smoking weed, because actually passed me out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just pass out, and you don't experience it, because I actually sometimes when I'm before, not now, but when when I was falling asleep, I could feel it was going to happen, and it's like, oh no, I'm
Yeah.
trying to avoid it so much. It's like, no.
Yeah. For me, it was when I would like, so say if I wake up in the morning and I'm like still really tired, but I'm also like, I could get up, I should get up. And then I fall back asleep.
Yeah,
And then I like, oh no. And it's the falling back asleep. So it definitely is the in between energy. And so one of the things I mentioned to you when I was on live and this came up is that two things. That one that's really interesting is the ancient Egyptian connection, which I don't remember even where I came across that, but what I read was that people that experience sleep paralysis, and again, this is the internet, so, but there might be something to it, I don't know. But people that have sleep paralysis experiences, they more than likely you can point back to ancient Egypt, that they had lifetimes there. And I don't know what it is about like I think about the burial rituals, and with the resurrection aspect, or them waking up, it's not reincarnation, it's literally the body like resurrecting. So I don't remember even the connection of how that came together, but just that within itself spoke to me, as I mean, obviously, right, but just with the sleep paralysis.
what it comes to me and make kind of sense is because maybe you and I have like a connection with ancient Egypt, and Egypt, they were experts in dream, astral travel and all of these things. So because we have the matter to actually astral project, this sleep paralysis happened to us subconsciously. It's like
Yeah.
us wanting to have an astral projection consciously, but it doesn't happen consciously, and that's why we get the sleep paralysis. Maybe I don't know. That's
Yeah.
what it comes to me.
Well, and I'm just thinking about, I mean, and this is totally very specific, but I'm thinking about how you and I have the 0 degree, right? Yours is of Cancer, right? 0 degree Cancer, mine is 0 degree Aquarius. And what I've been connecting with the number, the vibration of 0, which we were talking about, that oneness, that completion, but also like a portal, and even that void energy, and being able to like exist within that, right? And existing within that is like in everything and in nothing at the same time. And so I don't know what it is about sleep paralysis and, astral projection, but and even bringing it back to ancient Egypt, it's like masters of, that liminal realm, or just like the deep sleep, the death. But again, what is death? What is sleep? And you know how they say sleep is the cousin of death. And so there was so much focus in ancient Egypt around death and resurrection, and the whole experience of when you're in that death phase, right? And when you're through the underworld. And so I don't know, it makes sense, and I can't really explain it, right? I can't really rationalize it. And so I'm curious, have you astral projected before?
So, when doing the Buddhist stuff, researching, I actually came across a guy who I can't remember the name or anything, and I tried to find it and I don't find it. But it's a guy who actually practiced the actual travel with hundreds of people, and he had steps to do it. And I actually downloaded them and practiced it. I
And
practiced I practiced it for a month, being sober every single day, like during the day. I went to bed and practiced it all day long. So I experienced two things. First of all, you have to relax the body to a point that you don't feel the body. So you have to be still for at least 20 minutes,
yeah,
focusing on your breathing, that's going to relax the body. So when you relax the body, there is a point where actually starts shaking,
yeah,
because it's actually relaxing to the maximum, state. When you don't feel it anymore, obviously you are like super meditative, right? I'm still here and now, but everything is so quiet. It's like I can't even think things, but it's consciously. It's like they don't come to me. I'm just experiencing what is happening. After that, you can focus on certain things. One is the inner sound, which is like you focus on your ear, and there will be a point where you start hearing an inner sound that sounds like like that, really settle, right? And if you keep focusing and focusing on that, believe me, I swear to God, it fucking becomes, and you can hear in your ear like a airplane engine, like that in your like that in your
yeah,
ear, and that can be terrifying. Like hearing that shit in your ear is terrifying, but you don't get terrified because you are meditating, right?
right,
So you are like calm.
yeah,
So when I hear that, I felt my bed sucking me down.
wow,
And when it was sucking me down, right? I got kind of concerned, because it's like, okay, I don't want to go down. It's supposed to go up. And and I went back to my body. The thing
yeah,
with astral projection is like you cannot get surprised, scared, or anything, because you go back to your body immediately.
something, and that's something to reflect on too, where it's like the emotion and the conscious awareness of the emotion in that moment immediately connects you back to the body. And that's actually, if you're doing this as an intentional practice to try it, that's something you can like just having your mind as like safety net, right? So knowing that's something that might help you relax is like, okay, if I feel, inevitably, if I feel crazy, if I feel scared or fearful, I'm going to come back to the body, right? Or worst case, like if it's too much, I can just, I'm going to feel the feeling. Once you feel the feeling, it's like that.
Yeah. So one thing that actually, well, first of all, you have to want to do it like so badly, like I want it.
Right. So I mentioned in the live that I've had two experiences. I mentioned one. So the one that I mentioned was intentionally, and it was out of sleep paralysis. So it was interesting because it was in the same time frame of when I came across the ancient Egyptian connection of sleep paralysis. And then I happened to come across it talking about how people that experience sleep paralysis have an advantage at being able to astral project. And so basically they mention that when you're in that moment of, paralysis, then with your mind, just focus on, astral project. And that's what I was doing. I was like, I want to astral project. I was saying that over in my head, and yeah, focusing on the breathing because you have to calm yourself. And I did, in fact, in the hovering, for me, it was like a hovering, but I think in the shaking, right? And I think that was, or from what I read, which makes sense to me, is that it's like your spirit, like your soul essentially separating from the physical body. And so that's just like the vibration shifting, right? Because it's not in alignment, it's not resonant with one another. So it makes sense that if it's separating, then that's the shaking that's within you in the hovering. So I feel that hovering when I also do the astral travel. And so yeah, I had that experience. I floated up to the ceiling. Then as soon as I saw my body, because it was the first time I ever did it intentionally, as soon as I saw my body there, I freaked out, like, and then I was just like, it was like boom, like instantaneous wake. Except I woke up in the sleep paralysis, and I'm like, are you fucking?
Wow.
And I was like, be calm, because when you're calm in the sleep paralysis, it's like the opposite for sleep paralysis. Like if you're freaking out, it lasts longer. If you're calm and you breathe through it and talk yourself down, then you wake up sooner. At least in my experience. So it's really interesting, the mirror another.
So, well, first of all, like the sleep paralysis, when I feel that I'm going to go into sleep paralysis, feels completely different than when I'm doing astral projection consciously. Like when when I was going into a sleep paralysis, it felt like vertigo, in my solar plexus.
Yeah.
But when astral projection, I didn't feel anything like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the inner sound is one way to get out. The other way, which is another technique, is when you are totally relaxed and you don't feel the body, you try to move your astral hand or your astral foot, or
So
you imagine yourself kind of
visualizing, like what do you mean by your astral hand or astral
like, for
foot?
example, you have the arm like this,
Mm-hmm.
and you try to move the hand without moving it,
Like moving that, seeing that separation of like spirit and the body, like through
Yes.
visualization. My
So
God.
when I was trying that, you are, I'm in my room, with my lamp was on, a lamp.
Yeah.
So I'm trying that. I'm with my eye closed, just seeing darkness when you close your eyes and whatever. And then I start seeing like a little square, like from like in the distance, right? And then the square comes to me, and then I'm inside the square. And when I'm inside the square, it's a dream. I cannot enter a dream consciously, and I'm in a car with my best friend. He's driving, and I'm in the co-pilot seat, and I grabbed something from the floor and I threw it through the window. And the motion that I did with my hand in the dream, I felt it in reality with my astral hand.
Wow.
So when I felt that, I kind of open my eyes, because everything is happening and you're still here, like your body is paralyzed, but you're still here.
Right.
So I just opened my eyes, and it was like, wow, I felt the astral hand moving without moving the physical arm. And then obviously you lose the whole relaxation of the
Yeah.
process and you start over again. It's like, okay, I'm tired. You cannot go again, you know?
Yeah.
So I experienced that.
Almost like you went from astral projection to like into like a lucid dream type situation,
No,
or
no, no. I was lying down practicing the astral travel, right? And I
yeah,
go and you know, with my eye closed, I see the square inside my
yeah.
head, and I see like you know, like the image of the car inside like that little
Oh, so
square.
like you're watching, yeah, and then you zoomed into,
Exactly,
yeah,
and everything around it is black,
yeah.
and then the little square comes to my eye closer, becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, and then I kind of go inside. That was, I mean, that showed me that we can go actually consciously into the dream realm for sure.
Wow, yeah. So that
Okay.
kind of oddly reminds me of an experience that I had. Another experience I had with astral projection, I guess if you would want to call it that, but I feel like it was. I don't know. But again, it happened from sleep paralysis and it wasn't intentional. So I don't know. I fell asleep on my bed, and this was the same house and room that I intentionally astral projected, and I was experiencing a lot of sleep paralysis kind of often. There was definitely ghosts in the house, and there was a lot of activity around the house. So we were living up against Flagstaff Mountain in Boulder, Colorado, which was like a battleground. Yeah, at some point in time. So, anyways, I remember I fell asleep somehow. Then I woke up in the sleep paralysis, but I woke up and I remember, like, when I woke up, I didn't freak out. So it was almost like a lucid dream slash sleep paralysis. I looked over because I had a text message, which is what woke me up, but I didn't really wake up. And I saw that it was my best friend, Aurora. And I was like, oh, okay. So I looked at the phone. Then all of a sudden, I transitioned where it was like everything was kind of like virtual reality. And I was like floating almost, where it was like, yeah, it was kind of, I wasn't walking, but I was like hovering, floating. And so I float through out of my room, down the stairs, into the main living room. And I saw that there was a cat like at my back patio door, a white cat. And we were living with also like 5 cats, but none of the cats were white or anything like that. So it was really random. And I don't know why I did this. I would never do this in real life, but I went over to the cat, picked the cat up, and threw the cat over there was another level and staircase. So I threw it over the staircase into the lower level. And then as soon as I did that, I floated all the way back up to upstairs where my room was, and then projected back into my body. And it was like I wasn't scared, but it was like when I think I felt, maybe it's hard to remember, but shameful, or just like I was kind of maybe running from something, but it wasn't like this strong sense of fear. It was just like, oh shit, and then I like, so, and then once I woke up out of that, I looked at my phone and I indeed had a text from that friend.
Wow.
So, and it was like that text came through while I was sleeping. It wasn't before I fell asleep.
Yeah.
So it was, there's something, and now it's making me think about one of my favorite astrologers, Gemini Brett. He just recently, I think this morning, was talking about dreams, and he mentioned how time, if you're all like, always look at your watch throughout the day, just checking in with the time if you're doing dream works and doing work with the astral. And so, when you're in a dream, if you look at the time is funny, time is weird. And I know for me, when I lucid dream intentionally, I will ask for the time or a book to read, because it's like, it's funny. Reading and telling time in dreams is weird. So now thinking about that, looking at my phone was some sort of shift in reality and in perspective, in which I went from sleep paralysis to astral projection and like doing some weird travel thing. So it was really interesting, and I've never had an experience like that. That was the like since then, that was the only time.
Yeah, I don't know if you have heard people talking about asking people in their dreams about time, and when they do that, it's like everyone start staring at you, and and it's like and it's like everyone and it's like everyone is like what do you mean? We know you are here or something, and they start talking to you. I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't tried it. I don't want to try it. Like, I don't want to freak people out.
For me, I get crickets. Like if
Mm.
I ask, like, so now I've lucid dreamt so much where I know for the most part, as soon as I'm lucid, I'm like, oh shit, okay, here we go. Like I'm doing all the things that I want to do. But there's a period, and every so often, if I'm not sure, I will ask for a time. I'm like, what time is it? And I literally hear crickets. But it's like something about my own psyche. So I wonder if it's something of your psyche within your psyche where it's just different. Something just is off, and because time only, I can't say only exists in this, reality of Earth, in this very like structured 3D reality, but there's something about time. And so for me, it's
But
just
but but doesn't even exist
what,
here because
oh,
time
yeah,
because if we don't go to sleep and we don't have the clock, it's like the eternal present moment. It's like
yeah,
we just experience day and
yeah.
night, and that doesn't mean that time exists.
Sun and the moon are the timekeepers. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So someone in the chat, Moon Gazer, speaking of moon, says we're in a lucid dream right now, which I totally feel that.
Yeah,
Vibration
for sure.
in the 3D, matter is dense, everything is heavier in the 3D.
100%.
We're gonna have to chat on this again because there's so much here, and yeah, I
Well,
mean, this is
if you well, and the third one experience, right, was actually I was doing it, and it's when I actually went up consciously, and,
yeah.
my room was lit by a lamp, but when I get up, everything was pure black, and I just could see my TV lit by a candle, kind of.
What,
So the light,
when you were in the projection?
exactly. So in the physical realm was by a lamp, but in the astral realm was lit by a candle. So the light is different in the other
Yeah.
realm. It's so weird. And then I was like, wow. And I went back to my body just by
See,
saying wow.
you just opened a whole can of worms for me because now I'm like, okay, I need to now I need to do a 28-day ritual on astral travel. But I'm gonna give myself space.
Yeah.
That's gonna be after eclipse season and after I'm done facilitating the circle because I'm so curious about it, and because the experiences that I've had have been so profound, and I would love to do that and to share. So
I don't want to, you know, um, like I don't know how to say it, be the ruin the party for you, but 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 I stopped actually practicing it because my spiritual guy told me to. He said like, no, stop doing that. It's like, but he never told me why.
yeah,
And I was like, okay, maybe I'm not ready, but I achieved it,
yeah,
or
yeah,
so, or the first phase of it. After that, apparently you have to give your attention to the room to actually materialize it, or to be able to see it, and then you can explore, apparently.
wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can. There's always a fine line between, yeah, like you have to have balance with those kind of things.
Yeah.
I've learned, and I,
Yeah.
it's really easy just in for myself to like escape, and so yeah, there's definitely a balance of doing that, but I
Yeah.
for
However,
sure want to.
however, however, the guy who actually, experienced it with hundreds of people, and you know, had these steps, you, he said like there is nothing wrong with it. Like you have the the cord attached to your umbilical cord, and you cannot get lost into the astral realm or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
So that was my experience.
yeah.
Mm.
Well, thank you for sharing. We're gonna have to do this again.
Sure.
And yeah, we'll just see what comes up. But I'm so excited because I don't really talk to many people that have like a strong experience with it, and just your perspective really resonate with. And
But
so,
one thing that I experience every time I tell this to someone, they become the agent Smith. It's like they start becoming distracted. They I don't know. You know what I mean? Like
wait,
it's not for everyone. You are the first person that actually understand it,
oh, I,
hear it,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah, and I know that's why I was like, oh my gosh, we have to connect because it's rare to meet people that have experienced it and then intentionally move towards it, right? Like, oh, I want to try this thing out, and so that I was really excited to
Yeah,
connect. So
exactly. The silver cord,
yeah.
Daniela. Yeah, that's right.
Gazer says dream is an illusion, a trick of the light. This dream is also for a brief moment. This dream being the waking life. And that's a whole nother discussion I will go down at another time for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Do you
well,
want to sit down?
yeah, let's think out.
Let's do it with the left one this
Yeah.
time, and body to the left and head to the right, and three, one, two, or whatever. One, two, three, through the nose. One, two, and three.
Wow. That was perfect.
Thank you, Urania.
Yes. Everyone check out Lewis at Kettle Buddha. Awesome, awesome stuff. I'm so excited.
Yes. Pay attention to what happens like this week, after this talk,
Oh,
and
yeah,
let me know.
right? Coming. I'm excited.
Yes. Well, thank you. It
Thank you.
was a
Thank
pleasure.
you for being here.
Thank you.
All right. So, oh my gosh, tonight has been amazing. I feel so grounded and clear. Um,
I'm,
so,
I'm,
oh yeah,
I'm
just
signing off. Bye.
nice. Yeah, so I feel really good. And this has been an extra long special live. And I just am so excited to travel deep within the realms of dreams, the astral realm, the in between. There's definitely something here. So I don't know if some of you weren't here in the beginning, but I pulled or received this Two of Swords, which is schizophrenia. But what I love is that he's like holding on to these cliffs, and really we want to just let go and just trust and fall literally in the in between, right? And that kind of brings all of this full circle. So thank you so much, everyone. I will be here again next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Happy full moon in Aries, and I hope you have a beautiful night and sweet dreams.